Well, joining us now for some insights into everything happening in Rivers State, we have Peter Ameh, who is a public affairs analyst or commentator. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Ameh, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I had a discussion about this issue with a guest earlier, and he condemned the statement credited to the Rivers State APC about, that's the APC chairman anyway, about the fact that he needs to resign or he should be impeached. Now, what is your view on that particular call?
This is an undemocratic call because even the state chairman of the APC has acted in contravention to the court pronouncement on his seat. Because what I'm worried about mostly is that people are now using the court as a means to be able overturn the popular view of the electorate. People are now looking for a way to say the strong man will win through. That's why the popular saying "go to court," and those who have the court we tell you to go to court because when you go you can't defend them, and when they go they will defeat you. So the fact is that the APC chairman is not in the House of Assembly. His party does not have majority in the House of Assembly. So on what basis is it that is you, or which of the package is he using to call for impeachment? The impeachment proceeding that doesn't even commence, and there's a process. You still have to have the chief judge of the state to set up panel to look at how this panel will review whatever impeachment notice that has been brought before the sitting governor, and then they also analyze it and come to a conclusion. Because if you don't do that, you have a stalemate, because the state has been put on in a confused state because of people who want to be able to show their power. I've said this many million times, and I'll keep on repeating it, because the fact what we have in most of these states, why these people are grandstanding, and why you see people moving towards the interest of powerful personalities within the state, is because they have never won election. The elections has always been based on the fact that they rode on the application of applying apparatus of state authority, using state authority, using police, using other means to be able to get into power. Because if people know they are popular, if you know you want to defect, and you know the law, section 109, section 1G, clearly state that your seat will be declared vacant, you should be ready to face another election, and not to come up, look for a way to try to remove a governor that has been that was already in place for the interest of the people. See what Wike is doing. There's nothing.
Yeah, Peter, of course, there are talks around town in Rivers State that there's actually no impeachment, so to speak, and there are no facts to actually validate that. But then I'd like to ask you, does it seem as though the judiciary has become a willing tool in the hands of manipulators over the situation in Rivers State?
No, that's the truth, because this case that was used to validate the authority of the state House of Assembly to the 7 lawmakers, this case that was used to remove the local government chairman, this case that was used to stop the funding accrued to the state federation from the federation account to the local government, is a case that started even before the defection of the lawmakers. Because the case that is meant to deal with the issue of the lawmaker is still at the Court of Appeal. And that in that case, this 27 lawmaker had already filed an affidavit claiming that they have decamped. The court must know what to do and when to do it. If there are multiple cases regarding a particular case within a state, and taking decision on one will affect other cases, why didn't the court follow the advice of the president of the Court of Appeal and consolidate all these cases and take them in one day, so that we will know whether the defection of this lawmaker is valid or invalid? Because the law is very clear. Section 109, Section 1 went ahead to make far-reaching pronouncement that they have the authority to withdraw resources meant for the welfare and well-being of workers and masses of Rivers State. It is uncalled for, because apart from political leadership, as stated in Section 7 of the Constitution, that has to do with the governance system and administrative system and finance system of local councils across Nigeria, apart from the political head, they are still administrative head. the bureaucratic process would have taken cost to use the finance to help the masses. As I'm talking to you now, the finance of the people has been withheld, and I don't know how the state will survive.
Peter, I know that two wrongs don't make a right, but it's been said that Governor Fubara also violated the Constitution by declaring the seats of the 27 lawmakers vacant due to a supposed defection and for conducting local government election. Do you think that the governor also overdid it in those areas?
I think that there was far-reaching decisions by the Supreme Court, which they did not even need to dive into the arena of politics. The governor never declared their seat vacant. What the governor make reference to, another public commentator like myself, was the fact that since there was a provision that has said that when a lawmaker decamps by Section 109, Section 1G, that seat is automatically declared vacant if he moves from a party upon which he was sponsored for an election. So if that had happened and the governors have made an attempt and there's a case before the court to determine whether their decision was right or not, then I don't see where the governor has gone wrong.
Peter,
the Supreme Court even went further.
How sure are you, or what evidence are there to prove that they actually defected?
I've mentioned to you, you can go to, I can look for the affidavit filed by the 27 lawmaker. An affidavit is an oath, a statement on oath saying that we have decamped and we have left the PDP to the APC. Okay. They filed it in court, at Federal High Court, and that defense is before the Court of Appeal today. So forget about video documentary evidence. Our court must go beyond what they are doing today so that they can also help our system to grow. If there are documentary evidence where people are shouting that they have moved from one party to the other, you cannot base defection of a political party based on name being found on register of the party. You are now giving a loophole for party to go into more crisis because people can now decide to be working with another party and their party cannot discipline them because the Supreme Court has now stated clearly that until the name of the member that decamped is found on the register of the party. And this is in party politics. That's what they will call a party, somebody that disobeyed the interest of his party. So you cannot say that this is not anti-party activity. So let's say there's anti-party activity different, but this is a clear case of defection that has been clearly stated in our constitution. And people talk about Beke today that is benefiting from this kind of law, worked with only 7 House of Assembly members after he came to office and decided not to work with those who were loyal to Amaechi. He also dissolved the local government council. So we are advising the Supreme Court not to dive into the realm of politics and also look at the law and save our democracy from those who have determined to manipulate the loopholes that exist within the constitutional provisions of our law to be able to undermine the integrity of our system, of our democracy, and of the progress of our people.
Well, the Supreme Court has given its verdict, and I'm not sure there's any going back on it. But then finally, Peter, now the Amaechi Assembly wants the governor to present the state's 2025 budget before it and equally call for the sack of the state's commissioners. Now, the governor has called for a truce, a dialogue, let me just put it that way. Does the Assembly mean well for this administration? And do you think there is a solution to this political crisis?
There are two things in this our democracy. You have every organ has its own responsibility. When you have the lawmakers, the state assembly members, the responsibility given to them in the Constitution is to make laws for the good governance and development of the state and also do oversight function. They do not have executive power to hire and sack. They don't have that. So giving that kind of directive to say they have sacked ministers, commissioners, sack essays is unlawful directive. An unlawful directive is not something that should be obeyed. The governor is the executive governor of the state. He has no power to make laws. His own is to execute laws that have been made. And that is the responsibility to be able to look at the administrative management process and also manage the bureaucracy within the state. So whatever the 27 lawmakers are doing, if they mean well for the state, it is in their best interest for them to meet with a man who have offered an olive branch, that they should sit down and discuss about the issues that are before them, and then look at the amicable way to move the state forward. It shouldn't be about the 27 lawmakers. Neither should it be about the sitting governor of the state. It is about the masses, because without the resources allocated to the state being made available, then the people will be the one to suffer.
Okay.
Everybody already have wicked to the 7 lawmakers, governors are on side, and they will be able to survive. What happened to the masses of the state? That is what the Supreme Court did not take into consideration when they took their decision.
All right, Peter Ameh, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
Thank you very much for having me.